Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Broken Axle. As always, I'm Steve. We've got the Norwegian giant, Craig, over here with us again, and a special guest, Justin, with us tonight. Say hey, gents.
Hey guys.
We are talking tonight about wagons. Some specifics about defining wagons, because that was a topic of debate amongst us and has been among the community for quite some time now. And some other discussions about what happened to the wagon here in the States and around the world, and what it's been replaced by, the devil that we know as the crossover
Which
around the
is
States.
terrible.
Which is pretty much terrible at everything. They just need to die in a fire. So first off, we'll go through defining the station wagon. So this one was a topic of some debate. We have seen around the interwebs some mention of the necessity of the D pillar, that a wagon must have an A, B, C, and D pillar, which I'm not opposed to, although I don't necessarily think that's a good quantifier by itself. Some others about the slope of the liftgate and the length of the roof, and yet more about the length of overhang behind the rear tires. So, Justin, you want to take us? What's your thought for the most important defining characteristic of the wagon?
I would say it just has to look right with the overall body. Like our best one, our discussion about the Subarus is when we went from the 0607 actual wagon to the '08 that I owned, which was a hatch. And it was just everybody knew that was a hatchback and not a wagon. And you were taunted if you thought it was otherwise. So if you
All
look
right.
at the overall body of it, it just looks like a hatch in '08. But prior to that, it was just acceptable. It was like, that looks like a wagon. It is technically like it could be a hatchback, but it looks like it could fill the wagon role.
Fair enough.
I think
What's
the
your take, Craig?
differences in the lift gate, explicitly between the GD and the GR body styles, the difference in the lift gate tells you it's different between a wagon and a hatchback. And then we had also brought this up earlier, Stephen, about the Ford Focus from pick a year in 2000. They had both the sedan. You had the two-door hatchback, the four-door hatchback, and then they had a four-door wagon. And the differences between the hatchback and the wagon specifically is that the wagon had I think it was 8 more cubic feet of space just because they brought that roof line straight back, and the lift gate was more of a 90-degree lift and not an arc back, so to speak, that the hatch has.
Okay, I mean, I can buy that. Except for
According,
me, it's definitely, I think, a shape thing, that the long, some people call wagons quote long roofs, and I
Mhm.
definitely think that's a big part of it, right? The look of the long roof line, and not really having uh like an angled down slope past the rear seats
Mhm.
as it goes down into the trunk area, but having a straight back
And
roof
from
with a full height cargo compartment.
Mhm. the that also extends out to, and this is kind of the joker, and I don't know if we'll actually touch on this, but the shooting brake concepts or the shooting brake designs are different from your estates based on that rear slope. It's more sporty and racy than it has a tapered off slope, but it still has the extended roof line.
Yeah, that was an interesting distinction that came up on the interwebs as well about whether or not two doors can be wagons or not. For me, my
Yeah.
usual favorite selection for the two doors can in fact be wagons is the BMW Z3M.
Ooh,
The clown
I,
shoe.
Tell me it's not a two
yep.
door wagon. Like,
It is and always will be just a clown shoe. A really nice one.
It's a
I don't
two-door
think
roadster
clown shoe
hatchback.
is a car category, but okay, I'll go with it.
Nothing wrong with
Um,
it.
No.
It's stuck.
For for those of you who haven't seen one, you should probably go out there and Google the Z4N Coupe. It is exactly as we said. It is a clown shoe. It's
I'll
Z4, sorry,
I'll put a picture
Z3.
up on the. I'll bring a picture up for us,
All right.
preferably
Yeah,
in some
and
obnoxious like blue green color or something.
And the argument here is, right, in accordance with the differences between hatchback and wagon, this is my argument on why it's a hatchback and not a wagon, right, is that it doesn't have a D pillar. It only has a C pillar, and that the roof line, although the rear hatch sits more vertically, it still opens up greater than 90-degree arc from closed. That being said, it's a shooting brake. It's not a hatchback and it's not a wagon. It's a shooting brake.
All right, I can buy that.
That's because it's just cooler.
I mean, by that definition, wouldn't the Euro spec Fiesta delivery vehicle, the one with no windows, the little two-door wagon or two-door hatch, I guess? I don't know.
The what?
They have a two-door Fiesta over in Europe that has
Kind of like the.
it's a
not the
delivery
econ-
vehicle. Yeah,
Is
it's
it like
like
that
the-
thing. I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it.
It's like the Fiesta Connect, something like that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few of them like that where it's basically a car turned
Yeah,
into
no.
a delivery vehicle.
Yeah, that's not a station wagon. That's a van.
The micro minivan, is that the size
the-
below minivan?
The nano van.
Yeah.
According to Merriam-Webster here, I actually looked this up. The station wagon is an automobile that has a passenger compartment which extends to the back of the vehicle that has no trunk. And it has one or more rear seats which can be folded down to make space for light cargo and features either a tailgate or a lift gate.
By that definition, my 2008 WRX hatch was a wagon.
No, because it's got a hatch gate. It's not a lift gate or tailgate.
So that's
Yeah.
another one that I actually want to touch on, and we'll get here in a second about
Sure.
tailgates.
Tailgate's hatch gate. Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess we'll go ahead and roll into that because that's another important distinction I feel. And what is typically referred to as a lift gate is what's on most hatches, right? Hinged at the top,
Right.
Goes down to about the rear bumper-ish area
Mm-hmm.
and opens up as one piece of metal and glass typically. Unless you're Volvo and just the glass opens because you're Volvo and you can do what you want.
Or unless you got the super cool, what year was it, Steven? In the 60s, they had the barn door wagons.
Several, actually. For several years in the 60s, all three of the American manufacturers had split barn door style rear hatches, which are pretty cool. That's definitely an option. To me, that screams wagon more so than a liftgate does.
Right.
There are also several with separatable glass, like the glass opens separately from the rest of the liftgate. I don't really know if that's better or not. There are tailgate styles where the glass or the metal part of the tailgate folds, or the rear hatch, whatever you want to call it, folds down like a truck tailgate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fairly common one as well. To me, that also is wagony.
But not.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's
just like a K5.
wagon.
Yep.
Pretty much all of
Yep.
the 70s and, 80s
old
American
Civics
wagons
used to
were
have
like
them
that.
too, the EG.
Yeah, basically all
Popular.
of your 70s and 80s American wagons had the tailgate style where the glass rolls down in the tailgate and the tailgate folds down. Except for the GMB body, which actually did both, because the GMB body is quite possibly the best wagon ever created in the history of wagons. Like the Roadmasters and such, they fold down like a tailgate, or if you pull the other handle, they open to the side like a barn door.
Oh man,
the Roadmaster, dude, it is the pinnacle of wagony goodness.
That's a whole lot of tech. And then let's not forget about the Chevy also made some of those vehicles that had removable roof panels, so you could stand up refrigerators vertically in your wagon.
Yeah, there's a few of those. The most memorable one from the old era would be the Studebaker Wagonaire.
I gotta look that one up again.
Yeah, so it had the same setup as a lot of other stuff in the era did, where the glass rolls down into the tailgate. But they also had a section of the roof in the top that would slide forward, kind of like a sunroof, but backward, turned around the wrong way. so that you could stand up stuff in the cargo
It's
area.
very Studebakery.
Oh, of course.
I like it. I think it's a novel idea.
It is so novel, in fact, that General
School
Motors
idea,
copied it
would not own one.
in the early 2000s for one of the GMC Envoys. The Envoy XUV.
I feel like
had
after
the
30
same
years,
idea.
it's not really a copy. Well, 40, but
Yeah, Studebaker doesn't
definitely a
exist
copy.
anymore.
it failed both times.
That part you're not wrong about.
Oh man.
No, that is something I did not know that existed. The Wagonair.
Yeah.
That said,
I have not seen one.
it's not the stupidest thing I've seen for tailgates, because look at the current crop of Chevy and their 6-way tailgate, and Dodge, their split not in the middle tailgate. Like, there's a lot of stupid going on in rear enclosures right now.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, a lot of stupid.
So how about this? The difference between a hatchback and a wagon. How about the depth at which the tailgate comes down and opens up from? The wagon having a tailgate that would go down lower to the bumper, whereas your hatchback would kind of sit mid-rift between the taillights.
Yeah, that's true typically, but that seems quite variable. Like
Yeah.
the Volvo C30 that I was referencing that doesn't have where just the glass opens, that
Mhm.
has a fairly high liftover height.
But
But
it's
there's
a
definitely
hatchback.
some hatches that go down a lot lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, because like the Subaru was, the taillights were like halfway down the hatch. Hatch went to bumper.
Well, yeah, your headlights were all, or your taillights were all of like 2 feet long, weren't they?
Yeah.
No, not for the WRX. I was thinking of a different vehicle. The Focus has the 2 foot long.
Oh yeah, the
taillights.
super tall, skinny taillights.
Mine were
Yeah.
wide. They were probably about 6 to 8 inches total in height, though. So
Yeah.
I believe the king of the tall taillights is our Lord and Savior, the CTS-V wagon.
good God, they're big.
Yeah, but is that
I
big?
like them.
That's big due to the size of the vehicle itself, the 5,000-pound behemoth.
I think it's the name. Like, look at your Escalades. That's
Yeah.
just a Cadillac thing. It
It
always
is.
has been. Oh man, older Cadillacs, man.
Well, the Volvo V70
Those
also
tall
has
taillights.
this is what I thought Stephen was going to refer to. The Volvo V70 has some of the biggest rear taillights I have ever seen, because they are quite literally the whole entire rear of the vehicle vertically.
You'll see them stopping.
Right. I mean, it's Volvo. Somebody decided if we make the taillights the size of the entire cargo area, it'll increase the safety by like 0.2%.
And not only that, but having your taillights be directly up and down allows you for a perfectly 90-degree lift gate for maximum storage capacity.
Yeah, because Volvo.
When you talk about, and we're going to talk about this coming up here, but when you bring up the mention of like the sport wagon, the Volvo V70R is my sport wagon of like, by default, you say sport wagon, that's the vehicle I think of.
Oh,
I
man.
don't think of Volvo as sporty too often.
Well, you're wrong, because the
people can make
850R,
them. People
the
can make them
850R
that
square
way.
wagon was at one point the king
Yep,
of DTMs.
It was.
Well, not only was it
You're
the
not
king
wrong.
of DTM, but it was also like 400 pounds heavier than everything else out there, and would still two-wheel.
Yeah. The blue and white Volvo just ripping around everybody on track. Like, I'll find some pictures of that and get it up on the screen for us.
Oh no, Volvo's wheeling it, but
that was glorious.
Volvo wagons, man, like that's a niche thing, man. The big brick getting down.
It's funny you say that, but right now, so moving forward, I guess, into wagons for sale here in the States, there is a distinct shortage. So we have, and I'm talking about full-size wagons.
Brand new, like
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Yep. We got the V90.
All right, yeah, 2020 wagon. All right, so pulling it up on Google here.
And we had until very recently the Buick Regal Tour X, but it's dead.
And V90 shows crossover next to it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's two V90s.
That's a bad name.
Well, there's two V90s. There's the is it the V90 XC or something like that, and then the regular V90.
Oh, you're talking about the XC90
V90
versus the V90.
Cross country.
No, there's also a V90 XC and then an XC90. Those are different vehicles.
Okay, so Volvo fire the guy who came up with the naming
Okay, no,
convention.
I see your V60 at the bottom of my list here.
Yeah,
And that does look more wagon-esque than a crossover. Yeah, so the V90 Cross Country is very
Right.
crossover-ish.
Yes.
which as
The
you would expect.
V60 shows a hybrid with an MSRP of 67,000.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's dumb expensive, but
Ugh.
there's
good.
a
It's real good.
Yep. Okay, I
it
see
is
it.
good. But other than the expensive ass Volvo, there are some
All-road.
BMW wagons, but I'm not even going to bother going there because BMW's naming convention and model convention has just gotten really out of hand.
Yeah, not even BMW understands what they're selling.
Right.
This is like a certifiable fact. Savage Geese, one of the announcers on YouTube, did this too, and he went to dealership, and the guy didn't even know he was selling number wise, right? He just said, this is the blah blah blah, and turns out your 5 Series is the same size as a 3 Series, which is now the 4 Series.
Yeah. BMW's like, yeah, we have the 1 through 9 series, and no one knows what any of these mean.
Right.
Just pick the pretty one.
Hmm.
And Mercedes, they have
E-Class.
wagons as well, but yeah.
I was just actually looking at those.
They're just going to be
But,
untouchable based off of price, right?
Yeah, I would say so. What's interesting to me is that I really feel like the Euro manufacturers
Mm-hmm.
were probably at one point leading the pack as far as midsize and compact hatches and wagons.
Mm-hmm.
But for a long time, I want to say 70s, 80s, 90s even, the full size station wagon was purely the realm of the Americans.
Yeah.
It was our market.
Yeah.
People wanted that. The American dream.
Yeah, Justin is dead nuts on here. Right. At one point, that was the family man dad machine, right? Going to take you, the spouse, 2.5 kids, the family dog, and a
Yep.
week's worth of bullshit.
Go
Throw it all in the
picnicking
family
somewhere.
station wagon and go wherever.
It's got a big old stonking V8 and an automatic gearbox, and it can go across the U.S. back then, which was a feat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we, the collective we of the American populace.
Mhm.
For our listeners out in other countries, I don't really know what happened in y'all's history. Hopefully, it's better than ours. But we have lost the way somewhere.
Thank you, Prius.
I'm actually really hesitant to blame the Prius.
I'm not.
I
I
blame the
am.
people.
I am. The Prius is honest about what it is.
That's true.
It's not what I want in a vehicle, sure. No arguments there. But it is honest about what it is.
But what is it though? Because it's kind of that weird fusion of hatchback wagony type thing.
It's an efficient transportation appliance.
Well, so is the Toyota Matrix, and we like that a lot better than the Prius.
Valid point.
The Prius said that it would do it better, though.
Yeah. They do get surprisingly good mileage. And, I mean, I can get it. It's not something I would buy, but I can get it.
Yeah.
My gripe is with the current. So this started, I'm going to say, really taking off in the 90s. The SUV trend here in the States, which is also almost entirely a U.S. thing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem to be popular anywhere else.
No, it's because they have wagons.
Yep. Different
the issue here?
market. And also, their cities are not the same as ours. Ours are a little bit more spread out and room to grow type thing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Europe and-
I think they're just smarter than us, and we're dumbasses that keep buying SUVs when wagons would do the job better.
And it became an American stigma.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's a huge stigma about wagons that I completely don't understand.
There's also the cross competition between Jeeps and the off-roady SUV, while still being able to people move. That I think spurred
that
more
was-
the SUV thing in the U.S. than the wagon thing. Because like, if you want an off-roady wagon, the Europeans had the all-road, and then they had the XC. Ooh, was
Yeah,
it the
the
XC60
V whatever
back then?
XC.
Yeah.
Well, it's any of them, right? So they had the V Series wagons,
Mhm.
and XC was a designator that goes on the end of the V Series wagon that denoted a lifted suspension and some flares.
Yeah, and some body cladding for the
Right.
hunter with the 30 dogs or whatever.
They had a different thing though. So if you think Rally kind of started over there, maybe that's something to blame there. As whereas ours was like you were pretty rugged in the Americas early on, wilderness, other stuff like that.
Yeah,
Different
unpaved roads were
inspiration,
still a
possibly.
thing in a
Yeah.
lot of places, or poorly paved roads.
Mm-hmm.
I should say unmaintained roads. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
South Carolina, gotcha.
Or
Sometimes.
anything that sees winters and all of a sudden the roads just wither away to pebbles and nothing.
Right. But yeah, so I get the original crop of SUVs, right, with the whole off-road precedence.
Mhm.
I am a huge fan of things like the XJ, the OG Wagoneer,
The Bronco.
the K5 Broncos. Yeah, I get it. I'm with
International
it.
Scouts.
The
Oh,
Scouts,
100%.
yeah. The original off-road SUV.
They do a thing, right? And they do it well most of the time. I get it. But the current crop, we've talked about this many times on the channel. The new Chevy Blazer,
Mhm.
it's a dumpster fire, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say about it.
Mhm.
But the current crop of crossover utility vehicles have effectively no off-road chops. Most of them are front-wheel drive. The few that are all-wheel drive are some kind of bullshit front-wheel drive based setup with a send power to the rear.
This should be a test, honestly.
What's that?
I want to see somebody like Dirt every day pick this up and drive older 70s Blazers and Broncos versus newer 2020 variants.
Right? I might have to send that in to Dave and the guys over at Dirt Every Day. I want to see the what do you
Yeah,
want to say about a 75 K5
like,
versus a 2020 Blazer?
It would just be a pooping on Chevy there, but with their Blazer idea.
But they deserve
Bronco
it.
would probably like take it okay.
Oh, I have no doubt a new Bronco would crush an OG like 66 Bronco.
Yeah,
Off-road.
for sure.
What's that?
The argument would be more 20, like the old Bronco versus Blazer versus new Bronco versus Blazer. Like, it's
Okay,
setting
but that
Chevy
would
up
still
for
be just
failure
shitting
there.
all over Chevy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and to anyways, the Chevy was the last of the big three to get into the old 70s era of off-road and camping and all that stuff, right? Because I think it was the Power Wagon and the Bronco were first.
The Bronco was
Well,
definitely
Power
the
Wagon
first.
was more
The
international,
OG
and then Ford jumped on it.
Ram Charger, but that was not as common.
Ram Charger or the Power Wagon? Because the Power Wagon goes all the way back to like the 20s.
Power Wagon does, but that was a very niche thing. Like, I don't think that was as big as.
Yeah, I was gonna say the OG Power
as
Wagon was
mass-produced.
not an off-road king back in the day.
Excuse
It was
me.
just a model.
The thing had like
You
35s
disconcur?
from factory. Yeah.
All right, let's I'll hear you
yeah,
out on
let's
this.
say-
No, hold on a second, guys. You got to go all the way back to the 40s to the original Power Wagon, not the 60s of what you're thinking of.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the 40s Power Wagon, but
Yeah.
okay, yeah. All right, I
legitimately
will
had
concede
35s
this.
on it.
I will concede this. That was the one that
It's
had a
not-
pivot too, or some shit, right?
Yeah, the rear axle pivoted.
I'll give you that, but how mass produced was it? Like, how popular was it?
It's enough to have a niche following.
I was about to say, there you go. So you have a king, but I'm talking about like the mass produced, like for the masses. Like what we have today is the general public that doesn't sell well with niche market. So like what you see mass produced back in the day, Blazers, Suburbans, Broncos.
Yeah, internationals.
Yeah.
What's the other brands? Land Rover,
AMC.
I guess.
If we want to talk about bringing it back to wagons, what I would say is the OG of off-road capable station wagons would be AMC.
The Eagle.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience there. That
I'm a big AMC fan.
I'm
But,
Hold on a second, Justin. I'm about to educate you here with some photos.
Oh God.
I actually wrote an article about this back on Wheelwell when that was still a thing. The AMC Eagle is actually the original sinner between blurring the lines of a car with an SUV, and they did it properly, but it gave Americans
they
the
did
dumb
it so
ideas.
good.
That gave the Americans the dumb idea that this is now normal, and now we have, the new Blazer.
Well, the idea, right? So of the AMC.
That thing
Oh
is
wow, that's a
terrible.
coupe. That's not what I was thinking of. But the original idea for the big AMC 4x4s was to give a car-ish, wagon type thing, interior-wise and comfort-wise, with the capability of a proper off-road SUV. The current crop of crossovers, the idea is to have not as much room as a car, worse handling and gas mileage than a car, but also no off-road prowess and no off-road capabilities.
Yeah.
So like they're not doing the best of both worlds. They're doing none.
I was about to say, there's no way that this thing sold well.
AMC, actually, it did.
Sold phenomenally.
Yeah, it sold phenomenally well.
God.
Not so much the coupe. Now, the two-door coupe did not sell super awesome, but the...
No. That's a super niche vehicle. The four-door...
Yeah, the four-door wagon variant sold amazingly well. That may have been helped by the fact that it had the standard AMC, V8 or straight six.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so good.
Was that prior to the... Oh, no, yeah, that's the AMC 4.2 liter straight six.
Actually, yeah, it had the predecessor, the 4.2 inline six. Yeah,
4.2.
It was great.
Yep.
But, so yeah, take us back to wagons, right? Yeah, that group of wagons, the AMC specifically, but any of the old wagons, gave you a lot of capability. They're functional vehicles capable of doing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The current crop of crossovers, I don't really see what the gain is, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, no.
Especially even in the same market, right? Let's take Mazda, because everybody knows I'm a big Mazda fanboy, and I am a big Mazda fanboy. Except for the CX-30, because Mazda, you fucking dumbasses. They were like, hey, we have a CX-3 and a CX-5, and we're going to make a middle model in between those two. What number goes in between 3 and 5? I've got it. 30. WTF. Anyway, sorry for the tangent.
If that's Mazda's biggest sin, I think they're still doing something great. Let's refocus our hate back to Chevy, okay?
That's a fair point.
Mazda has a soft spot for me right now.
Yeah. So the CX-3, right? They're tiny, or their smallest SUV in their market or in their lineup.
Okay. Shares similar platform to the hatches.
To the Mazda 3? You would think that, wouldn't you? But no. It shares a platform with the Mazda 2, which is out of production here in the States.
Yep.
Oh, that thing.
So
yep.
The CX-3 has effectively within like a half inch or so of the same ground clearance as a Mazda 3. It is down a whole bunch of horsepower, like 40 horse.
It's the opposite of cool.
It has less interior volume and gets worse gas mileage than a Mazda 3 hatch.
Base Mazda 3 hatch.
Correct. So as far as I can tell, it is literally worse in every way at everything.
Every possible way. Get it out of here.
Right.
The difference of it being it has the plastic side moldings and the tires are a little bit bigger and it looks like it's more off-roady.
They're actually smaller, but yeah, they look bigger.
Yeah, they look bigger because the new Mazda 3, which looks sexy as all hell, does not look off-roady at all.
Except that the new Mazda 3 is also more capable off-road than the CX-3 is.
All-wheel drive.
Because it's all-wheel drive. Yeah. Yeah.
That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's one of those things that you just look at it and you're like, why does this exist?
Because they thought someone would buy it, which is the whole reason why we're having this argument in the first place.
I was about to say, I hate that argument so much, I almost want to drag us back into the last one and bring up a different vehicle.
What's that? Because
early 90s, the 87 Honda Civic four-wheel drive wagon.
Why are you hating on that?
Oh, the Civic
I'm
wagon?
Not. No. The War Wagon.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not seeing a problem here. That was glorious.
And it was a true wagon, not a hatchback.
Exactly. You see, we're talking about like other things that are like they could be called wagons, but then they're like they lost their way.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. The Accord wagon died out, 2 generations ago? Maybe 3?
Not
that
too
was long. 8th generation, right?
Yeah, something like that. which is unfortunate because actually the Accord wagon was pretty cool for a long time. Same thing for the Camry. The Camrys had wagon variants. I
Yeah,
want
they
to say
did.
all the way through the 90s.
Yeah, super rare, but yeah, like super rare.
Yeah.
Huh.
They were, I would call those mid-size wagons, probably.
Yeah,
I mean, none of
definitely.
them held a candle to the, the Oldsmobile custom cruiser size barges.
They were.
What's up?
I said coming from overseas, like they were probably big for where they came from, but over here,
That's
not near as big as our usual.
well, that was part of the reason that for the longest time we held the line on, the full size station wagon
Mhm.
was because nobody else, like the European and Japanese manufacturers, just didn't
They
make
didn't
a
want
full size
that.
sedan to make the full size station wagon from.
True.
Right. I mean,
That's
most of
like
ours, like
a whole
the
different
Ford,
line of vehicles for a very niche market, and it's going to be a very bad day for your
yeah,
money
for your R and
making
D cost.
business.
Yeah, right. So most of ours were all based on like the one I was referring to, the Vista Cruiser slash Roadmaster. Those are based on the B body, which is the Impala or Caprice. Ford had its variant as well, based on the Panther chassis.
Oh
Ooh.
God, don't get
What?
him started. Don't get him. Don't even mention that.
We never got a Panther chassis wagon,
What?
and it would have been great.
We did not.
It would have been great.
Wait, I thought the
Not
'80s.
not
I
not
thought
until
the
late
'80s Crown
'90s.
Vic wagon was a Panther.
LTD,
I think it was
LTD.
a generation before.
It was generation before the
Uh,
Panther chassis.
Ah, well, my bad then. Yeah, I was like, I've definitely. My buddy Brendan up in Connecticut had a
hold up,
the LTD Crown Vic.
hold up.
It's like a 90, dude, like 90 or 91, some shit like
No,
that.
that is not a
They
wagon.
built them to the 91, but 92 was the Crown Vic Panther chassis.
Oh, my bad.
Platform. I'm going to wiki for this.
Yeah, right.
I tried to find it, and like something popped up, but it was
Oh
not a wagon.
no, it is the Panther chassis. It's just a different variation
It
of it. Because the
Wiki's Panther chassis shows all the way back to '79 with the LTD.
yeah,
But
so
Right,
you're right.
but
It
how
is.
far
I
It
would
does
forward
that
make
did
doesn't.
you?
I wouldn't think of Panther chassis until like the '92 variant.
Yeah,
But it
with
is
the
though.
2-valve mod motor.
It
Yeah,
is.
but
Yeah.
it is. You are correct.
Yeah, so those were the American Panther chassis station wagons, the
I'm
LTD
just
Crown Vic. Or no, hang on, they
That's
didn't
a
call
lot
it
of
the
wood.
Crown Vic. It looks like a Crown Vic, but it was the Country Squire. That's it.
Yep. I'm
Terrible.
just saying, if they made a Mercury
What?
Marauder wagon, I'd be all over it.
I was about to say that's the name I'm looking for whenever we talk about Panthers. There's 2 years of Panthers that matter, and it's 03 and 04 Mercury Marauders. Everything other than that, garbage. No.
Justin with the shots fired.
That's just a trigger, Moody.
Yeah,
Me and Moody
I
have
don't
had that
mind.
argument that honestly, while the Marauder's cool, a late model Crown Vic Sport is just as good.
Yeah, Justin, click that
I'll
link.
give him that. I gotta find it. Hold up. Yep.
The late model
That.
Crown Vic Sport just as good.
Oh. There's probably a better Photoshop version of that, but
Yeah, it looks like a hearse.
you know, I wouldn't drive that, but I would support it.
I'll have to get this picture up on the YouTube. This is the rest of the world needs to see this terrible
The one with
Photoshop
the-
job.
Oh god, yeah, no, that right before the C pillar, it goes. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
It looks like you took the picture and just drug it. Like,
yeah, that's bad. Whoever did that Photoshop, like, man, I
That
would
was a
not have released
5-minute
that to the
Photoshop
public.
job.
Oh man, so yeah, and Dodge. I don't know if Dodge haven't had a wagon at this point in the game. Probably not.
No.
I can't think of one.
When was no?
other than the Magnum.
What was their thing? Well, they had like, what was it?
That was way
Their
later. That
cars
was
they were
the
putting out back.
2000s, right?
They were putting out like Neons and Intrepids at that time frame. Like,
Yeah, that is true. Dodge had doubled down on the cheap little K car shit boxes.
uh-huh. I had a
Which
96 Neon, and it was terrible.
I mean, I don't think anyone's owned a Neon that hasn't said that sentence. All right, I'm just saying.
I bought it. My dad bought it for $200 wrecked, and we fixed it, and it was just
And
a
you overpaid for
$200
it.
car for the entirety of its life. The Walmart wing that I put on it cost as much as the car.
Ah,
No.
Please
Because
tell
that
me.
was around Fast and Furious time frame.
Please tell me you have a picture of this, Justin. I need a picture.
I don't. And if there was a picture, it would be like old school Polaroid picture.
that's perfect.
We were not that advanced in that time frame.
Oh my god, I need a picture
I
of
lived
this.
too
in my
far out
life.
in the country. That car probably it's probably no, it's probably overheated for its like 5th or 6th time, so it's probably not ticking anymore.
I don't know, man. Those as much as they were pieces of shit,
Hard to kill.
those 90s K cars were hard to kill, man.
Mm-hmm.
Little red 4-doored Plymouth Neon.
It's much like well, there's a lot of stuff from Dodge that's like that. It's kind of shitty, but it just won't die.
Mm-hmm. Not overbuilt by any means, just not underbuilt enough to die.
Enter PT Cruiser.
Hey now. Whoa. Whoa.
Welcome, Steven.
I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying. Like, it's 4 doors. It has a liftgate rear end. It could be a station wagon type thing.
Oh man, hold on. What is that actually in the wagon debate?
Yeah, the PT Cruiser? It's a wagon,
The
dude.
PT Cruiser
no doubt
is a
in my
wagon.
mind. Yeah.
Like there is. Yep. Nope.
Or
It's
what
definitely
Wikipedia
a wagon.
calls what Wikipedia would call
Holy
an
cow!
MPV.
All of the old hot rodders had a boner for that thing. And the aftermarket magazines. Oh, you can get so many parts that made it look so tacky.
I mean, it was almost as bad as the Gene Short Corvette guys, as far as just putting shit all over the car.
Yep. It's like, imagine that if GM doubled down on like the SSR, because people were like, "Oh my god, the SSR is going to be like a hot rod."
I'm feeling kind of attacked right now. PT Cruiser, SSR.
PT Cruiser got like cheap enough that people could buy it.
Hey, I'm sorry. The only thing that was retro cool that has come out in the last like 20 years started with the Prowler and ended with the Challenger.
Prowler loses my vote because of the V6.
Shut it.
They had it.
But
they
it
fucked
looks
it up.
But it looks bitching.
It does. They screwed it up though. Won't own one out of principle.
And that's the opposite of the SSR's issue, right? The SSR looks ugly, runs really well.
I mean,
yeah, it's not pretty.
That's fair.
Maybe optioned correctly, black on black, the only way.
I know this is totally non-wagon related, but I'll throw a shout out here because Justin saved me from myself in Charleston when I got rid of my WRX. I very nearly bought a purple, I swear to God, Barney purple SSR because it was an LS2 T56 car. Oh yeah, it was an LS2 T56 SSR.
You must have sent it. You must have sent it my way, and I shot that down immediately.
You did. I came over and we talked about it, and you were like, "You fucking tard! Don't do that."
I didn't take that seriously. I'm sorry. No, like you were actually looking. No, I wouldn't have supported that.
You shot it down so hard in like the first 5 seconds.
I supported many of your decisions, so if I'm turning it down, it's bad.
Yeah, in the first 5
do
seconds.
That. I kind of want to do that, but I can't do that. You do that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. In the first 5 seconds, you looked at it and you were just like, "No, absolutely not. That's the stupidest shit I've ever seen."
Purple. It's terrible.
It was purple.
And like you brought some really cool stuff over. That would have been one of them.
Right after that, I found Scarlet, my big diesel, and bought that instead for the same price, which probably was better.
I had a lot of fun with that one. Yeah.
And it's one of the few things I say that you shouldn't have sold.
Yeah. Oh my God, that Photoshop's even worse from the back. God Almighty.
At least it's like it's dark enough to hide a lot of the badness.
All right,
I like Marauders, but that's really making me feel it a way that I don't like them. But Like,
Oh,
let's
man.
be glad that those don't exist. But like, I feel like if a Panther chassis wagon would exist, it would have to look like a Buick Roadmaster wagon. Like,
For sure. For sure. I still stand by, even though it's from the 90s, that the Roadmaster wagon was the pinnacle of the American wagon.
what was it? Roadmaster Cutlass wagon. Hang on.
So there's the Roadmaster, the Oldsmobile Custom Cruiser, and the Caprice wagon, which the Caprice
God,
is
no.
whatever.
Cutlass is a terrible version. Ugh.
Did they ever make the smooth body custom cruiser? I guess they did.
You mean without the wood?
No, I'm saying like the older generation was the boxy like 80s, and then into the 90 92
Yep.
was the smooth.
Literally 90 through 92, they made the Olds Custom Cruiser that looked basically just like the Roadmaster, but with a different nose.
Yeah, the Buick. Or
Yeah.
sorry, the Old's nose.
Yeah. And it was pretty pimp, but they only made a very small number of them, and they were weirdly optioned. Because they didn't have digital dashes, they had full analog instruments and cloth interiors.
That's what
They
old
knew
people
who
want,
they were
though,
selling
right?
to.
Yeah.
And they
These
all
new-
had because of the custom cruiser nameplate or whatever, they all had that giant sunroof over the rear seats. Or I
Yep.
guess over the second row of seats. Kind of a neat car. If the opportunity ever presented itself to get a hold of one cheaply, I'd probably keep one.
I would not.
Yeah, I would pass.
Hard pass. Devo would hate me.
First off,
Couldn't even see my. No.
what's that? First off, that's not even close to the ugliest car I've brought home. I'm just saying.
Hold
Here-
on.
Hold on a second, Justin.
Okay. I wanna
Before you
hear
pass
that, but
judgment, here we go. Before you pass judgment, click that one. Steven, you're gonna throw this up on there too. This is probably the
I have a
coolest.
404 server error on that one. Hang on.
Oh no.
I got it.
Car
It came up.
scoops. Okay. Nope. Please try. Server encountered a temporary error. Could not complete your request, so that link's no good.
Oh darn. Let's see.
Works for me.
Huh.
But it is a all blacked out custom
Hold on.
cruiser on some, what are those? Torque,
Torque
thrusts
thrust.
Pasta.
Yeah.
with a Corvette big brake kit and a 4-inch hood scoop, which is like indicative of I have power.
Hold on.
Relatively speaking.
Okay. Yep. That came up. Cal hood's too much. The rest of it, I'll
So you're
skip
saying
it.
Diva would hate you if you rolled home with that?
Absolutely.
We're gonna have to have talks
It's
then.
not it's not a Vet Trans Am or G8, so no dice.
No, but this is better than Chevy because it's an Olds.
That's a terrible argument whenever you're coming home to a wife.
I was gonna say, Craig, I don't know if you know this. I don't see that flying. I'm just saying.
Nope.
Hey, there's a difference between
That's,
General Motors Chevrolet and there's a difference between
We've
BOP.
hit midlife crisis, have we? And you didn't buy a Vet? No, I already had a Vet.
Yeah, why would you get another?
Justin,
My
Uh,
midlife
I've-
crisis is
I've
going to
got
be
your
buying another
solution.
Trans Am. Oh God, no! Please no. Trans Am. I see the link.
I should have used a tiny
I know.
URL.
Yep, I knew what it was. I've seen that hatch and I hate it.
Why?
Oh
That's
my
glorious.
Look at it. Look
No.
at it. The best
It's-
thing about a Trans Am is the butt, and they ruin it.
No, it's glorious in every way. The Hearst hauler. I could actually see something like this in Justin deviating back to his
Is this
Import
would this
days.
be a shooting break?
Oh dear.
Yeah, absolutely. It's two
Now
doors. Absolutely shooting brake. Only 370 horsepower. Man. Gotta put some nitrous on that.
Nitrous.
Oh boy.
Well, it's all right, guys. He just got his first LSs. It's fine.
What's that?
Doesn't know the way of the boost.
There's always room for boost.
Nitrous
Exactly.
is boost. It's just compressed air.
Oh man,
Yeah, boys.
concepts got like just out of hand back then.
Oh no, we could do a whole nother episode.
Drugs were something else, man.
Yeah, we can do a whole nother
Like-
episode on like
like,
failed concepts
drugs
from the
were
2000s and
something
90s.
Oh my God, Justin.
like
The drugs were something
Hey,
else. I mean,
the
you're not
drugs
wrong.
were something else. That's further than I'll reach.
You're not wrong. The automotive designers must have had better drugs back then.
Hmm.
You're not wrong.
They did. You were correct. It was probably way easier to get a hold of some hard stuff to make some of the stuff they did.
Oh man.
But then, how do you explain like
You
the
can't look at
Aztec
that.
happening
You
in the
can't look
modern
at that and be
era?
like,
Or what was-
somebody with a problem was hiding it.
Or what was that one from Chrysler? The Crossfire.
Just Chrysler, just literally Chrysler.
yeah,
in
and
general.
yeah.
Hold on. SRT6.
Crossfire. Yeah.
Yeah. What about it?
Hang on, no, they made a badge that was perfect for Cummins owners that felt like they had an SRT10.
I have
The
seen that a few
SRT6.
times. The SRT6 badge.
I
and the
had a buddy
Crossfire
in high
stuff on
school.
Cummins trucks.
I had a buddy in high school that did it. He had a white single cab Ram with the SRT10 bumper and an SRT6 badge, and that thing was bad. Like roast all four brake stuff,
Yeah.
tons of power.
I feel like you may have grown up in slightly more redneck location than even I did, Justin. And that's saying
man,
a lot.
you're from Georgia too. That's bad.
Wasn't
Yeah.
his first car the like a yellow Mustang?
Mine? No, that wasn't first car. The Neon was first car. Second car was
Okay.
Mustang V6.
See, I grew up with first car
There's
being
a
dad's
story
old
behind
car.
that too,
Yeah.
but not
My
a
fir-
wagon story.
My first car was dad's old car, which was a Crown Vic, and then I promptly got myself into number one of like 5 240s.
So this explains Craig's love for the Panther chassis.
Yeah, I went out intentionally, guys, bought one, like in full on, like, how old was I? 19?
Not old enough.
Not old enough to own a Panther. That's how
Full
old you
on,
are.
like, full on 19-year-old, like buying a Panther chassis on purpose. Like, I got a sickness, guys.
What's funny
I
is that
remember
wasn't
like 16 or 17-year-old me just like getting sideways in a Mercury Marauder, and that's like the only Panther chassis that I will ever respect.
What's
Which,
funny is for
again-
Craig, that wasn't the end of the story, right? Because you did it again in your 20s as a single dude in your 20s when you could like own any 2-seater piece of insanity you wanted. You went and bought a Panther.
As the second vehicle.
I remember not liking that the entirety that he owned it, but he kept doing stuff with it and like forum posts, and I was like, you know what? You do you, Moody.
It turned out pretty good. Mustang wheels and some blacked out grill, and then, like I said, it was the second vehicle. I had the GC back then.
Yeah, I liked your Subaru, but you were on something else with that Panther.
I love it. I absolutely love
Drugs. Drugs are good.
West Coast, man.
it.
It's in the air.
Oh man.
So this is actually exactly a good allegory for why the wagon has died in the U.S. Is because that we're bombarded with these other vehicles and other options, and the supersized me from like 2006 that
I
basically
remember that
said,
in high school. Yep.
yeah, that basically said that, hey, the SUV and the truck is cool, minivans, small people movers, hatchbacks, and wagons
I
are
can't
not
say
cool.
anything. I have one. Yep. I have a Durango that moves children.
Yep, I have a midsize. I had for the longest time a midsize SUV. Did I need to use it? Nope.
I still have as yet to own an SUV, unless you count my Typhoon.
I wouldn't quite count that. What is that?
But it isn't.
The Typhoon? It's definitely an
It's
SUV.
not.
Dude.
It's a two-door. Two-door.
So does that mean it can't be
No,
an SUV?
It's a hatchback.
What? Get out of here.
It's its
GMC.
own thing, man. It's just
No
a
way.
Typhoon. Like
The Bronco's a 2-door.
little tiny Blazer.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
a 2-door hatchback. Is it a shooting brake?
It's its own body.
It's an SUV,
Look, you
dude.
stop with that shooting brake.
Technically speaking,
it's based
is
on
an
a truck
SUV.
chassis. It's a truck.
Yep.
That makes it an SUV, right? Like,
So does that mean anything that has 4 or 2 doors with a hatchback on a body on frame is not a wagon?
Body on frame doesn't make it a truck.
nor does lack of body on frame make it not an SUV.
Right. So is it an SUV or
I'll
is it a
concede,
wagon?
but I'm not happy about it.
My only refutal to your wanting to not concede that is XJ. XJs are unibody, and let some motherfucker make the argument the XJ is not a off-road SUV, because you're wrong.
It's a compact utility
No,
vehicle.
no. I feel like those styles of Broncos and Blazers, they were just something else, man. Like they were their own
You talking about the little two doors?
genre of
Well, those. So in my mind, and I might be the
which is what
oddball
the
here.
Typhoon's based off of.
Right, it's just a lowered one and sporty, but I'm with you. So in my mind, the two-door SUVs are the only ones that are actually in the spirit of the originals.
Because the
Right, because
original
the
was
whole short wheelbase is better for off-roading and stuff.
yeah. But that so the small wheelbase Blazers though are like 80s, right? They're not the 60s and 70s, which were the full size.
No, they had two-door Blazers all the way
Mm-hmm.
through. I want to say somewhere in the '90s, dude.
Yeah, I'm just saying the
'Cause they
ones
called them
in the
two-door
80s and
Tahoes, but
90s.
they changed the name to the two-door Tahoe, but they kept
Oh,
manufacturing them.
yeah. Well, yeah, the second generation was what the Jimny, the Trailblazer, and the Opel Blazer. Okay, that's weird. And that was produced all the way through 2002 before the Trailblazer got the midsize SUV treatment.
Yeah.
Ooh, Trailblazer.
So yeah, that was my argument, right? All of the proper off-road SUVs have two doors,
Yeah.
including
Sometimes you don't want to off road though. Sometimes you want an SS.
Sometimes you want to sit real low and make boosty noises.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
And
no
kill wheel
argument.
bearings and blow motors.
Yeah, no arguments
Yeah.
there. But then you have to argue in
10
the case
volts.
of like say the Trailblazer SS.
They
If
had some really good. They had some good things about them. They had some really bad things about them.
you got to argue though, if they still made a full size, like if they had continued to make some sort of a
Mm-hmm.
wagon variant of like the G8 or the Caprice,
I
if
haven't
that
even gotten
wasn't,
into my spiel on my G8 wagons. Ugh.
is that a thing? Is a G8 wagon a thing?
I know the G8
Am I
truck
drunk
is.
right now? Like, if I've
Holden
never heard of this, I'm
Commodore
gonna hate myself. Oh my
VE and
god, what have
VF
I been
Commodore
missing my entire
Sportswagon.
life?
Yeah,
VE and VF Commodore Sportswagon. Look it up.
the
I
Holden
just did.
SS V
What have
Series
I been
sports
missing my
wagon.
entire
I'm
life?
surprised you haven't ever seen one of these. There are a few that exist in the States that have been
What?
converted.
Why didn't we get this from the factory?
Why didn't we get anything Holden?
Because this is like that's what I like whenever y'all said y'all want to talk about wagons and what happened to them, I want to be like, guys, I've wanted this for a long time and this is the thing that I wanted, and the states never got them because of our stigma against wagons.
What the
But
hell?
Dodge
All
still
right,
made the
I will.
Magnum.
I'll definitely get a picture of this up on the cast.
For
This
sure.
shit is glorious, just
Mhm.
glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It's like I love my G8 still. Like there's a reason like my wife and I will not get rid of it,
whoever
no
at
matter how
GM,
much it depreciates. It has depreciated like a mofo, but that's GM stuff.
whoever at GM decided we don't need this, you're wrong.
Yep. No, I'm jelly. One, the Ute. Okay, I can understand the Ute, but why did we not get the sports wagon?
Yeah,
Because we're not cool.
We got a CTSV wagon. So the VF, I will say the VF is not as good looking as a VE, but if we're gonna go for the G8 version, I can understand it. The Commodore overseas looked better,
sure,
and I feel like the G8 needs the GXP front to really give it justice.
but I would have been happy with any kind of G8 in a wagon form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, the sports wagon is what I came prepped for this fight.
You are right, sir. I don't know how I've
Yeah,
never heard of it.
I like them.
I feel like I've missed the boat somehow badly.
It is a pain to get one over here, but it is possible.
They do the same thing with the Holden Utes, right? You got to buy a half chop and then basically take a G8, cut the back of it off, and then meld it back in.
Yep. Because then it's just not body enhancement, but there's something else to it.
You turn to a wrecked vehicle, right?
There is a very good VinWiki video on this.
Yeah.
Somebody did this with a Ute, and they described the process of how to legally do it.
Yep. Well, you got to register it in like Indiana as like a recreational vehicle now, like a camper conversion, and then he's driving around in a street legal Holden Ute. that is still a
Yes,
Pontiac G8
it is.
VIN.
It is legitimately titled as a Holden.
Yep.
That's crazy. So yeah, I'm flabbergasted. Honestly, it's not very often that I get hit with something that I just didn't even know existed.
Not since the day of the kit car from the Mopars in '77, the year that Steven refuses to know anything about.
Yeah, so that I'm now aware that it exists, but I'm not happy about the fact that I had to see that, and now I can't unsee it. This though, this is good.
Yeah, that makes him happy. That makes me happy too.
I want one of these in blue. Like, not gonna lie.
I
I
want one
think
of
you would
these
be
in
lucky just to
yes.
get one.
I want it in yes.
Yeah, I want it. Yes. I don't even care if it has a small 4.8 in it. I just need one. I'll
Yeah,
take care
No,
of the
they won't.
rest.
They only came. They only came 6 liter and up.
That was
Well, I
too.
take that back. VE Commodores overseas, they had some V6 models.
Yeah.
And G8s did have a V6.
yeah, they had V6. There's G8, not
They,
GTS.
they, they do, but they're just bad.
Were they the pre-LFX motor?
Now hold on. I'm gonna hit you with the good Commodore front with the right color.
All
No,
right.
it was LY7.
Oh dang it! Can I
Uh,
copy image location? Yes.
So yeah, gents, that's
Paste.
wow. I just wow. Okay.
Yep, that in blue right there. I want that car.
I feel like I need to rescind my previous statements about America being the king of the full size wagons.
Aussies had something. Now, I looked at it. VE, really good. VF, okay. Beforehand, based off the GE or the GTOs, like their Commodore.
hmm
I don't remember the chassis number or the designation for it, but their wagon, just
Not
I'll
as
pull
good.
one up. Not as good. No, the Commodores for the GTO chassis, I'm not a big fan of, but VE and VF they got right.
So Commodore is not Holden. It's a different. So you got what? You got Holden, Commodore, and Vauxhall, or is it the Holden Commodore? Is what you're talking about?
The Holden Commodore.
Okay.
So the platform I'm talking about is the VZ, which is, hold on, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
send
see
you a
it.
base model wagon.
I see it. In 2004, the VZ Monero
Yeah, Holden Monero.
CV6. Yeah.
Here you go, Steven. There is a picture of all terribleness.
That is
And
ooh,
that's
that
not
is not
far. That
good.
is not far
That is,
before. Yep, that is not far beforehand.
Wait, that's a
And I'm not.
GTO.
I feel bad. So the GTO is based off of what I think is this platform, the VZ Commodore.
Ugh.
The Monero. Well, no, Commodore different. You're right. Holden Monero was, I think, the GTO.
that's
Yeah.
bad. That is not good.
This is around similar time frame though.
Yeah, 2000,
Like they were making
2004.
like some good things, they were making some not good things, and I'm gonna have to uplift your spirits after that picture. And I'm sorry. Let's go back to the goodness. Sports wagon goodness.
Yes, back to goodness.
Blue
his-
sports wagon goodness.
And
I
it's
want
tuck
it.
and tire. So blue has always
So
been a
here's
thing
the
for you, hasn't it?
It has.
first off, blue.
Like
Yeah,
a long time ago, I saw Laguna Seca blue on a BMW M3, and I wanted it. And then
it just went
Subaru
from there.
WRX blue, Subaru blue, great. Toyota blue, lots of goodness.
Do you like the new Toyota?
It is my favorite color.
Do you like the new Toyota? What do they call it? Flame blue.
Yeah.
I would have to look up the color code.
So here's
I'm
a
trying
thought
to
for
get
you,
a pup
gents. And I 100% that the Holden thing that we didn't get here is quite glorious, and makes me sad that we didn't get it. But is that, and that link didn't work, Craig?
Damn.
Is that better or not better than the CTSV wagon?
I'm just now getting back to my computer. Hold on.
The CTSV wagon's what we actually got, though, right?
Yes, we did get the CTSV
So
wagon,
The link.
Therefore, it's better.
and like 3 of them in manual
Unfortunately,
exist.
uh,
I'm only half joking.
it's so weird. They do exist. They
Not
are
very many.
super rare, and they held value really good.
The
really
wagons
well.
do. The sedans don't seem to be holding the value nearly as well.
And that's the thing is like I like sedans, cannot stand the look of the butt on the coupe.
No, the coupe looks weird, but the
Well,
wagon
CTSV
somehow looks glorious
It does, and people love it.
because it's
Yeah.
good.
I'm the same way
So good.
about that. The coupe looks stupid. The wagon looks awesome, and then the base CTSV
Something they did with the
sedan.
rear, like okay, it's like the tail, okay, the downslope of
Yeah.
the passenger section
It's like the
is
hunch.
what kills
It's got
it
like
for
a
me.
hunched
Is
butt
it a
thing
hatch?
going on.
It's like the never-ending butt.
The coupe is the hatch, right?
I mean, technically, I guess the coupe and the wagon are hatches.
I've
But
never looked closely enough or cared enough to look at it.
Is it,
But for
Steven?
science,
Does the trunk open up with the glass, or is it just the trunk?
it's a metal and glass thing.
hold on.
It might just be the trunk, in which case it's neither.
Oh god, no, the coupe. Ugh.
Because like one car that nobody believes is a hatchback is the Scion TC.
I think it might just be.
Well, yeah, because the glass
I think it
opens
might
up
just
with
be
the
the
lid.
small little trunk.
Yeah,
It's just
the
a
whole
might be
goddamn
like
back
ass
half.
hatch. Yeah, it's like 8 feet long.
Yeah. Hang on, I get it.
Yeah, the Scion TC has one of the biggest hatches I've ever seen, like bar none, like lengthwise. Mofo is huge.
The C5 Corvette would like to speak with you. No.
Does the C5
Now is
Corvette-
that a hatchback? No.
Does the C5 Corvette actually have an opening back glass hatch?
Yes,
Yes.
of course
I
it
know the
does.
C4s didn't.
Excuse me.
C5 base.
Or sorry,
model
what was
had
it,
a
the
huge
FRC?
hatch.
The FRC has a trunk,
Yes.
Yeah,
but it
The,
doesn't
the
have.
regular.
It
base
doesn't have a
model
giant
Corvette.
glass. It's got like a real short vertical glass.
mm-hmm.
But normal Corvettes have that sloping glass that is enormous and opens.
Yeah.
There is like 3 or 4 years of C3 Corvettes that have the sloping glass, but it doesn't open. But that was, that was the 70s, and drugs are
Yeah,
bad.
that was the space age, and you want to talk about special type of drugs.
Yeah.
God, CTSV's fronts looked so good. Coupe's
Don't
rear
they?
though, big turn off. And that's not because I can't afford one.
I mean,
If I did it, I would do sedan.
yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like if you're buying a coupe, there are better platforms for you.
Yeah, for sure. That was always my argument. The V Wagon, like, I don't know. They're just too much money for what they are.
They're still like high 40s and 50s. Like
I know. But they're also so good.
they held it the whole time.
Yeah, they never depreciated from new, like, at all.
No, the rarity was one thing, but just they were just good.
Oh, they're even worse than that.
What's that?
I'm just looking up CTSV wagons rear-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
This
I've
one's
got
going
good,
for
I got a
58.
really good picture. Good picture shows all 3 platforms and
And
just
And it's an automatic.
now the automatic still had the 6L90E,
Yippers.
which is really good. If I think torque management was the problem.
Yeah, and they just recently got that cracked now, so it can actually work. And then here's the manual CTSV wagon for 63,000.
Hold on,
That's
I thought I knew that car.
6 years old.
Hold, wait. I need pictures. Image not available.
Yep.
A link got posted, and I saw something that I thought looked familiar. Virginia plate, but
Sad face.
I'm gonna have to link a video later on. Somebody I knew in Virginia, really cool guy, had a CTSV wagon, twin turboed it, but beforehand took it up to Ocean City, Maryland, and just basically raped Ocean City in burnouts with a wagon, and it was goodness.
I was gonna say I'm not seeing a
was cool
downside
as
here.
hell. Dad was cool as hell, had a CTSV sedan, and I loved both of them. So I'll have to get you a link to the video of just, old Greg Jr. doing burnouts all over Ocean City. It was glorious.
Oh, is that Greg?
No, not that Greg. Greg,
Oh.
Somebody else. Hang on.
To be fair, burnouts all over Ocean City sounds like something Greg would do.
I don't think Greg and I wanted to go to Ocean City for cruising, and I never did.
Ah, well. So yeah, so what's the thought, right? Consensus. Is the CTSV better or not better than the uh, Holden thing?
It's
Well,
better. I mean, it has to be. The problem is cost for both.
Yeah,
The problem with Holden is getting it here. It's going to cost you the price of a CTSV just to get one legally and
yeah.
running and driving.
and
Now,
the
And then
CTSV is
CTSV will whoop your butt with an LSA with a blower.
yeah,
yeah.
and looks like CTSV wagon, which is good. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. The sports wagon rarity is what really sets it off.
Yeah,
They look good, but like the CTSV is just as rare,
yeah,
almost.
I would say so.
It's almost exotic car rare.
Yeah, I mean we see that here at Caffeine and Octane. Like V wagons will get let over into where the Ferraris and Lambos are parked at.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, the Z, circling back to the other type of coupe shooting brake thing, the Z3M is also kind of exotic car rare too.
No, dude, not even
I
close.
found it. Hold on.
What do you mean not even close?
Not even close, man.
Totally close. A Z3M coupe
Just
is not
posted a link.
is not rare.
I mean, I don't think it's as rare as a V wagon. I see. Well, I don't know. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, I feel like I see Z3Ms running around.
Justin, why are his tires throwing sparks?
That's the end of the week. That's how many burnouts that dude did.
I'll link
Shredded a set.
for the peeps out there. I'll put a link to the video that Justin just shared for us in the description. This is yes, yes to the burnouts. That's all I got to say about that. Oh man. Oh, wrapped it up, I guess. I think the takeaway here: wagons are good, crossovers are bad, SUVs are dumb, and yeah,
Unibody
There's
SUVs are
a
dumb.
lot of off topic, but you can only stay on topic so much with wagons.
Well,
In my opinion, there's only like I don't go too far back to where the point where like I would think about buying one.
yeah. The
really?
big and the little with
No, I
Go ahead, Craig.
sorry, the big and the little with a wagon can be summarized like this: that the generation of buyers of vehicle owners aren't popping out 2.75 kids that Steven said. The average person is commuting with just themselves and maybe one other person, and if you do have a family, chances are it's going to be three people. In which case, you don't need the third row that is typically found in wagons. Now, you do get some arguments about people who have like two dogs, one kid who need a bigger vehicle. But it's the sign of the times, and it's not necessarily car based. It's more, consumer based. And so, what sells really well these days? People movers, and people movers are taking the form of compact utility vehicles because people want the appearance of sitting more upright and being in a lifted vehicle that's quote quote safer. And the only people who enjoy wagons and hatchbacks these days are journalists and then the car buyers like ourselves. But unfortunately, minus maybe the Super Outback wagon and the Volkswagen Alltrack, wagons are basically outside of normal people's accessibility. So
Yeah, I would
yeah,
totally agree
that's the long and the short of it.
that it is.
depends. Like I don't know. Like what drives the market is who's buying new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And guys like
Unfortunately,
us,
I can't support buying new.
yeah, guys like us don't
So
buy
I'm
new.
looking at like when I was in the market and looking for vehicles, I was looking at Magnums. I looked at Audi All Roads and stuff of the like. I looked really hard at Audi All Roads.
You
Well, I remember
did.
you
I thought
looked
you
at
were
all
gonna buy
roads
one.
before you bought the Legacy the first time around.
Yeah.
Yeah, Legacy was good. I wish I could have found a Legacy wagon, but we found a really good black Legacy GT, black with black leather, and it was a really good car.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been
And
I
better
was
if it was the
nothing.
same car in a
No.
wagon.
I felt bad because when I went to go part out my WRX, I put my OZ wheels on the Legacy, and it looked better than my car. and I hated that.
So
Like, my wife's car looked glorious, and mine was just like I didn't like my car anymore.
I've made that argument before to Subaru Bros that the Legacy GT is better than a WRX from the same generation in every way. There's no downside.
I won't argue that. And they had a wagon version.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm saying there's no downsides to getting a LGT wagon over a WRX hatch. Like, it's better at literally everything.
Yep. And it was, if I remember right, so like the
cheaper.
gearbox was stronger than a WRX.
Yep. Well, it's
They
not
did
stronger.
more to it because they
It's different gearing.
thought they did something to it.
No,
yeah,
it's just-
I thought they did something to it to make it more survivable. but-
Nah, yeah, it's the gearing.
Leggy's
final
got
drive.
410s instead of 3.9s, which gives you like a 10 to 15% reduction in torque
Okay.
load on the gearbox.
Oh,
And
and
that's-
what
And
survivability
the difference
is.
of that's like a
That's
couple hundred foot-pounds of apparent torque.
Yeah. Same things with Foresters, right? Foresters don't actually have a stronger transmission. They just never blow up because they have 444s.
Okay, so the gearing is what
Keeps them alive.
it makes up for the difference.
Yep.
Yeah. But also the Leggy interior's nicer in every way. There's more room in them.
Yes, it is.
Like, there's just no downside. And they're cheaper.
God,
They're cheaper
Well,
somehow.
There is a downside in pure motorsports, but you'd be stretching hard, and that's that they have even worse tendency for understeer.
Yeah,
because
but
of
if you're in
length.
pure motorsports and you're in a WRX, you're in the wrong platform anyway.
Yeah, as we talked about before the show, yeah. The
I
WRX
need
is
to. Hang on.
barely relevant these days.
Before we go, I have to flex a picture from way back. Copy image location legacy goodness.
Justin's got a flex on everybody.
I don't know if that'll pop up. But man, that was so good.
Yeah, it
looking.
does. Justin flexing on us all.
Let's see here.
It's not
Does
a
it
wagon.
pop up, Moody?
It's not a
Yeah.
wagon, but I'm gonna share it in the
No.
channel anyway because it's good.
The STI lol.
I loved that thing.
But no, but that proves the point for Steven though. Like imagine if that was a wagon, like
He'd still
this is
own
what
it.
you're missing out on. Right?
If it was a wagon, he'd still own it.
Yeah, I'm saying that's what people are missing out on. Like that if that was a wagon, that would have been badass.
Yep.
I mean, it's still pretty as badass as is.
If I remember
Kudos.
right, unfortunately, that car was a 5 EAT.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I remember that.
To be
That's
fair,
Mustaine.
To be fair, that is approximately 600,000
done.
times better than the 4EAT in the WRXs and Foresters.
Yeah.
The 4EAT is a flaming pile of garbage, and the 5EAT actually works pretty good, truth be told.
Yeah.
You just had to do some things and not make too much power in doing it.
Yeah.
I think you could do a valve body mod and some other things and make it live up to 400 foot-pounds and be reliable, but I don't have enough experience in that department.
And, 400 foot-pounds and something like that would have been
I didn't push it.
a pretty cool people mover.
Yeah. Yep.
But all right, so to the world out there, let us know what you think. Leave some comments and such. Maybe we're way off base. Maybe SUVs are the way of the future. God, I
So
hope
you
not.
broke up?
And hit us up with some wagons we may have missed out on. I just recently found out about this G8 wagon thing. Maybe there's some other cool ones. that I
Sports wagon.
Totally missed
It's
out
got to
on.
happen. We need more in the States. I
And,
wish.
And hit up Justin if you happen to know somebody selling a sport wagon chassis for real cheap.
Oh, please don't. I have a G8 and I would make terrible financial decisions.
I would personally fly out to come help you chop it up.
Yeah, right.
Ugh. Somebody else would be doing that work.
Oh,
Like I
man.
said, I would personally come out and help you chop it up.
You want to put out your social or your Instagram or anything, Justin? Do you even have an Instagram? Justin?
Mine? No.
Oh, okay.
No. I did. I don't, though.
Oh.
I'm also
Not current.
not on Instagram or anything, so I'll let Craig take us out since he's the only one on social media.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you want to join us more in the chit chats that we have and maybe bring up a random topic, you can find us over at YouTube at the Broken Axle Podcast. We also have a Facebook page, the Broken Axle Podcast, where you can find myself and the likes of Steven kind of trolling around, posting up random cool things. The hot topic right now is that Ford Mustang Raptor, because Ford is contemplating raptorizing everything, which I'm all okay about. Steven can be found on Facebook as well as Just Can't Drive 55. You can find me on Facebook and on Instagram at nomadic.wheelman. And yeah, let's go out and bust some knuckles. Save the wagons.
Save the wagons.
Save